What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. And this one is the FPL best captaincy for game week 33. Now, last week, game week 32 was super easy, right? You just chose a Spurs player, whether that was Kane or Son, or you went someone a bit different. But in 33, there's a blank for City and Spurs, but there's still a good few options to choose from, especially from Liverpool and especially from Man United, where a lot of people are looking. We're also going to cover the rest of the games as well, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. Just before we jump into it, I did want to say I have partnered with the weekly 7 game. There is a link in the description below if you want to sign up. It's 18 plus UK residents only, and there is a chance to win £1 million. All you got to do is predict 7 scores from 7 different matches. That is it. You get them all right, there's £1 million for you. Obviously, all the rules and stuff are on the website as well. And that's it. No catches, free to play. And you also get a £5 Uber Eats voucher every week just for participating. It doesn't really get that much better than that. Later on in the video, I'm going to go through my picks, tell you why I'm going for each different scoreline, and obviously trying to win the £1 million for myself. But if you want to try it out, link in the description. Give the video a like, hit subscribe if you're new around here. Let's jump into the video. So let's start off with Liverpool versus Newcastle. Now, Newcastle are probably in that core of kind of 5 teams that I'm really looking to target from here to the end of the season, basically, with my own team, my own transfers and stuff like that. The other teams are probably ones like Crystal Palace, West Brom, Southampton, Burnley, maybe even Leeds as well, because I'm not fully convinced they're this defensive team all of a sudden that aren't going to concede too many goals, which we'll come on to in a little bit. And if you look at the numbers for Newcastle, they've been bad all season, right? Whether they're playing defensively or attacking wise, they've been poor. And arguably, or not even arguably, looking at the numbers, they've got worse over the last 6 and the last 4 fixtures, where their expected goals conceded per game has gone from 1.52 to 1.74 and then 1.89. And I've had a look at who they've played, and to be honest, because what I do is I put the numbers in first, and then I look at who they've played, and I'm a little bit surprised because the last 4 include West Ham, Burnley, Spurs, and Brighton. Look, I guess Spurs, not that bad attacking wise, neither are West Ham, but Burnley and Brighton, and then the previous 2 games before that were Villa and West Brom. Villa would have been without Jack Grealish, I think. I don't think he was playing in that game. And obviously West Brom, okay, they're doing a little bit better. But basically, this just all points to the fact that Newcastle are a poor defence, and I'm not expecting them to suddenly do something crazy where they show us how good they are against Liverpool. I'm sure they're going to defend deep, right? We saw that against West Ham. I know West Ham ended up scoring a couple of goals, but for a long period of time, West Ham found it difficult to break them down. And Liverpool are going to have to try and do that, but it feels like they've probably got the better players to do that. One thing I will say is I am recording this before all the press conferences on Friday and before the Leicester versus West Brom game. So we might get some more clues on captaincy. One thing I would love to know for Liverpool is Nat Phillips back? And not because I'm worried about captaining him, of course, but if he's back, Fabinho can play in midfield, and he didn't do that in the last game, and they do lose something when he's not playing there. So keep an eye on that, because that could affect our decisions around captaincy, right? In terms of the players, I'm still just not sure about Mane this season. The numbers are there. Okay, they're not quite as good as Jota or Salah, but they're still not bad for a player who a lot of people would say is out of form. You look at his numbers over the whole season, they're pretty good in terms of underlying stats, not necessarily goals and assists. But yeah, I think most people have probably owned Salah and Jota instead. To be fair, Jota comes close. The thing is, Salah's always going to win out because he's on penalties and he's more likely to play 90 minutes than Jota is. We know that a lot of the time they just play that front 3, Firmino, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Jota, whatever it might be. But because Salah's just had his rest, he's almost definitely going to start this game. So for me, Salah's one of the standout captains this week, if not the standout. But if you wanted to go a little bit different, Jota's not a bad option, but you are kind of like almost placing a bet that he starts, because I don't think anyone can guarantee. I've got him in my team, and I'm always hopeful that he will, but it's never, ever a guarantee. But long and the short of it, if Nat Phillips is back, I definitely like Liverpool this week. If he's not, it probably means Fabinho playing in defence again, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not as good. So if you were kind of swaying and you weren't sure about your Liverpool pick, maybe keep an eye on that and go from there. But Newcastle defence, not good at all. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, I have partnered with the weekly 7 game. If you're a UK resident and you're over 18, make sure you click that link in the description below. Get yourself signed up. All you have to do is predict 7 different score lines, and if you get them right, there's £1 million up for grabs, and you get a £5 Uber Eats voucher just for playing. And to be honest, I'm trying to think about what I would spend £1 million on. The obvious: pay off the mortgage, get a new car. But I wonder if it's enough to get access to Pep Guardiola and get the lineups every week, because that would be great for FPL. Surely even Pep would do it for £1 million. I don't know. Let me know below what you're going to spend your money on if you win, and let me know below what you think of my score predictions as well, which I'm going to go through in just a minute. This is all covered by begambleaware.org as well, so if you're ever struggling with gambling, make sure you click that link in the description below as well. But yeah, let me get on with my predictions. So I'm going to shoot through them. Liverpool versus Newcastle. I just think Liverpool have too much. I know Newcastle are starting to get some players back, but I think Liverpool are due a good score line. I've got Trent. I'm hoping for a clean sheet. I think Salah's back for this one. I'm going to go for 3-0. Next one up, we've got, let me just scroll down. We've got West Ham versus Chelsea. Chelsea, very good at keeping clean sheets. West Ham are scoring goals, but they're also conceding a lot right now. So although Chelsea don't score a huge amount at the moment, I think they're going to score at least 2. And I think West Ham will get 1, especially with the form that Lingard and Bowen are in right now. So I'm going to go for 2-1. Right, in this game. Sheffield United versus Brighton. I think every single week when I do this, if Sheffield United is one of the matches, I'm going to go for 0 goals. I just don't think they're looking good at all right now. And Brighton are going to get enough. They're going to get a clean sheet, and I think they'll score at least 2. They've got that 3-0 scoreline in my head against Newcastle. I think this is a similar game. Brighton definitely win this one. Wolves versus Burnley. I think if I'm going to go 0-0, this is the game. I'm tempted to go for 1-0 Wolves. I don't think Burnley are going to get anything from this. Anyone that went for Wolves on their wild card looking great. Cody, Sice, etc. are really good options. But I think this is about as close to a 0-0 as you're going to get. Probably one of the games I will avoid watching this weekend. Leeds versus Man United. I think Leeds have got enough to get something, but I don't think they're getting the win. And I think Man United are finding lots of ways to score goals at the moment. So I'm going to go for 3-1 in that one. And with Man City Spurs, I've got to back Man City. I think it's going to be 2-0. I don't think Spurs are going to have enough, even if Harry Kane is back, to beat Man City. They are just so good defensively. They've lost Mourinho now, Spurs as well. And I just don't think they're going to find ways to break Man City down. Man City are going to play a pretty good full-strength side for that. And I think it's just going to be too difficult. I think well done to Spurs for getting to the final. I'm just not predicting, just not predicting a result there at all. Villa versus West Brom is the last game. I think West Brom scoring. I don't know. I'm a bit worried because I've got Martinez. But West Brom are playing well right now. And I think if Grealish is still missing, Villa might struggle. But I do think they've got enough to score a goal. So I'm going to go for 1-1. So that's my predictions. 3-0 Liverpool, 2-1 Chelsea, 2-0 Brighton, 0-0 Wolves Burnley, 3-1 to Man United, 2-0 to Man City, and 1-1 versus Villa West Brom. And that is it. All you have to do is submit your entry. Are you sure? Yes, I'm absolutely sure. And there you go. And that is basically it. Your picks will be locked in. If your voucher doesn't pop up when you submit your picks, just click the wallet button at the bottom and then go up to vouchers and they'll show up there. You can just use that for your £5 off your next order. You can see mine from last week and then the one for this week as well. There's £1 million up for grabs. Click that link in the description below if you're from the UK and 18 or over. And yeah, make your picks every week and try and win that £1 million. So reverse fixture 6-2. A lot of people have started pointing out that Leeds aren't conceding many goals. They don't concede too many goals at home. Defensively, they've been doing okay recently. But if you look at the expected goals conceded, it's 1.58 for the season, which is poor. They are one of the worst defences this year. And it's 1.52 last 6, and it goes back up to 1.59 the last 4. And I've had a look. Last 4, they've played... To be fair, they've had fairly tough fixtures, at least in the last 2. Liverpool, Man City. But outside of that, it was Sheffield United and Fulham. Then before that, Chelsea and West Ham. So the numbers haven't changed too much, even though some of those teams are quite attacking, some of them haven't been. And Man United are an attacking team. So I don't see how Leeds kind of get out of this one. I think Man United have at least got 2 or 3 goals in them for it. We saw Liverpool, to be fair. If you looked at the expected goal numbers for that match, Liverpool probably should have done worse than they did, right? The 1-1 draw probably was decent for Liverpool in the end. Leeds played really well. But I think they're being so open. Man United are such a good counter-attacking team. If they want to play like that, there is going to be space in behind. There's going to be the chance to get plenty of goals. I think 6 is probably... I don't think 6 is going to happen again. I don't think Leeds are that naive, but it's got to be 2 or 3 in this. So then you're picking which Man United player you go for. Now, a lot of people are starting to love Greenwood at the moment. And interestingly, if you look over the last 4, like people are kind of starting to forget about Fernandes. I've even seen some people think about doing Fernandes to Greenwood, which to me seems a bit crazy, right? Fernandez's expected goal involvement is slightly higher than Greenwood over the last 4. I think he's played slightly more minutes, but the thing with Fernandes is most of that comes from assists. If you have a look, he's only taken 4 shots in the box in the last 4, 1 per game average, but he's created 10 chances. Greenwood's getting goals, and it's the goals that you want. My biggest issue with anyone that's not Fernandes this week, and maybe even Rashford, because I feel like Rashford pretty much starts when he's fit. To me, there's no guarantee that it's even going to be... I think Cavani will start because he missed the last game, but there's no guarantee. And no guarantee it's Greenwood either. Dan James started the last game against Leeds. There's important Europa League matches coming up. There's Liverpool as well in Game Week 34. And it's going to be hard to leave Pogba out. And I would be very surprised if Solskjaer doesn't start with a double pivot of Fred and McTominay, as he always does against teams that are going to have a lot of the ball or have got a lot of fight in them, like Leeds. Well, like Leeds aren't going to leave Fred and McTominay alone. They're going to constantly be at them. And he's not going to go for Fred and Pogba. I just don't think... Or McTominay and Pogba, whatever combo it might be, I just don't see it. So then you've got 4 other spots, one which is taken up by Fernandes, 2 wing spots and a forward spot. I'd be surprised if it's not Cavani up front. And then if Rashford's going to play, there's 1 spot on the right. If Cavani's going to play and Pogba's going to play on the left, because it'd be hard to leave him out, there's 1 spot on the right for Rashford or Greenwood or James. Now, it could be Greenwood up front, Rashford on the right, Rashford up front, James on the right, whatever it might be. But this is the problem. It's hard to predict how he's going to set up. So if I had Greenwood or was going to bring him in, I think there is a temptation there to captain him as a punt this week ahead of like Bruno Fernandes, because that amount of shots is nothing to be sniffed at, right? That is a lot. So I would definitely be looking at him as a potential captaincy punt, but you have to take into account there is a chance he's benched. For anyone that's looking at getting rid of Fernandes, I don't think that's the play this week. I think he's actually a great captain this week. I think Salah's slightly better because you're more likely to get a goal from Salah from open play, and they're both on penalties anyway. But don't ignore him just because he hasn't done well recently. Outside of that, you're just hoping for minutes, I think. I think we have to put Leicester and Palace on here as a genuine captaincy opportunity. And when I look at people's teams around... then a lot of, some people have Fernandes and Salah, maybe Vardy and Iheanacho as well. But a lot of people have left out one of Salah or one of Fernandes from their teams. I know I have. And there's plenty of people out there who have done that. And they have got a Leicester attacker in there. Now, I get it. Most of you have got Iheanacho instead of Vardy. I think there's a genuine option of going to Leicester this week instead of going to Man United or Liverpool. Now, again, just to reiterate, in case you skipped to this part, I am recording this before the Leicester versus West Brom match. I know that's not ideal, but I don't have any other choice. I need to get this out in the morning. So obviously, if one of these players gets injured, then it probably actually negates the other one a little bit. But obviously, they're not options. But I look at those Crystal Palace numbers. They are awful. They are another defence, like Newcastle, like Leeds, that has been poor all season. 1.59 expected goals conceded on average. And then look at the last 6 and the last 4, 1.90 and 2.28. They're getting so bad. Now, they have played some tough teams. Their last 6 include Chelsea, Everton, Spurs and Man United. The other 2 are West Brom and Fulham. And even West Brom have been a bit more attacking recently under Big Sam as well. So they have played some tough teams. But I wouldn't look at that and say, well, of course the numbers have got worse. They play top teams. I'd be thinking, well, when they play someone that's good, they get even worse. And they're about to play someone that's good, right? And Maddison should start against West Brom. As long as he comes through unscathed, then he should start against Crystal Palace as well. And he's the kind of player that can unlock defences, get Vardy, get Iheanacho through behind. And I think there's plenty of goals in this one. And you look at those stats, right? Even Vardy, who people would say is out of form right now, hasn't, we've all seen that he hasn't scored hardly any goals since December, etc. Even his expected goal involvement is 2.50. Now, half of that, I think, or nearly half, is made up from expected assists. So his goal threat is down a little bit. And he's had half the amount of shots as Iheanacho over the last 4. But you could still go for him if you wanted that guaranteed start, pretty much 90 minutes penalties. But Iheanacho looks like the punt to me. 3.77 expected goal involvement. Obviously, this info is stats before the West Brom game, but it's the previous 4 matches they'd played. For Crystal Palace, it is their last, 4, 6, etc. But Iheanacho looks like the one. 10 shots in the box is incredible versus Vardy over the last 4. And the quality of chances that he's getting are so good. He's so close to goal. It's right place, right time. And I've said this before in videos. Sometimes people will say, well, it's just a tap-in. It's just a tap-in. You want your striker to be doing that. You want them in the right place to score the goal more often than not. You don't want pot shots from outside the box and long range shots, shots right in front of defenders where they're going to get blocked. You want to be right in front of goal, which sounds obvious, I know, but people like sometimes don't seem to realise that. And Iheanacho could be a man. I still like Vardy, and obviously, you know, when you're watching this video, you can take into account what happened in the West Brom game. But yeah, if you're not going for a Man United or a Liverpool player, I think Iheanacho, forget about the price, he could be the next option down. So let's take a look at some other matches. Lacazette is ruled out as far as I know from the Everton game, so I wouldn't be looking there. And I think elsewhere for Arsenal, I'm just not sure I'd be comfortable. Maybe Saka or someone like that if he's going to start. But I don't particularly like it once Lacazette's missing, Aubameyang's out, etc. So I'd probably ignore that match. Same with West Ham Chelsea. I think that'd be fairly low scoring. I feel like I always say that match is going to be, or a match like that's going to be low scoring, then it's not. But Chelsea defence is so good. And they don't tend to score a huge amount of goals. I know they did really well against Crystal Palace, but I don't see West Ham just letting them in as many times. So you could go for a punt on Havertz or Mount or someone like that. But I just don't particularly like it. And Lingard, no, we're not talking about him as captaincy for Game Week 33. Arguably, maybe we should be looking at Brighton, because Sheffield United are also pretty awful defensively. So your likes of Trossard, Morpay could be an outside punt. I think realistically, the other match I'd be looking at is Villa versus West Brom. But with no Jack Grealish, I just wouldn't want to go near Watkins. So for me, the best captaincies have to be from the three I've talked about: Man United, Liverpool, and Leicester. You know, if like I said, if Lacazette was fit for Arsenal, great. If Brighton had a slightly better option than they do, like I think if you've got Brighton players, of course this is a good fixture. But there's just so many other good options as well. I'm not sure that I'd be captaining any of them. So yeah, that's it. I don't think there is too many other matches to look at. I think Liverpool, Man United, and Leicester is where your captaincy is coming from. Maybe Ollie Watkins, but without Grealish, I just don't particularly like him. But there you go. That is it for this one. Please do hit that like button if you've enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. And leave me a comment below. Let me know who you're captaining. The joys of FPL content is, as soon as I've stopped recording this or about to do the outro, I've just seen that Phillips apparently did train for Liverpool, so hopefully he's available. Klopp will let us know in the press conference on Friday, and if he is, that's obviously good for Salah and co. But apparently Jota wasn't spotted in training, which is really annoying to see that after I've just recorded. But of course, we haven't heard from Klopp yet. Could be any reason, but it doesn't sound good. I still think Salah is obviously the better captain anyway, so just keep that in mind. I love to record these videos as close to release as possible, but it's not always possible. So hopefully you've enjoyed it anyway, and hopefully you found it useful. Don't forget to try out the weekly 7 game. There's a link in the description below if you haven't already tried that out. Just 7 scores to guess every single week, £1 million up for grabs, UK 18 plus. Make sure you give it a go. Link in the description below. And lastly, if you've not signed up to Patreon, patreon.com/letstalkfpl. Again, link in the description below for that. Everybody that signs up goes up on the Legends wall. And we do have a new Patreon this week, so thank you very much to Richard S, who has signed up since the last video as well. I will leave it there. I'll be back for the deadline stream later on this afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll see you soon. Good luck with your tinker and your captaincy choices.